The disappearing act I'm about to show you is going to make Harry Houdini look like an amateur. The magic of WrestleMania 40 had a lot to do with one central storyline, and that was Cody Rhodes achieving his lifelong dream of becoming WWE Champion. The man who made that chase and road so much sweeter was the final boss, The Rock. Everything he touched turned to gold, and he once again proved why he's one of the GOATs. His short run provided so many memorable segments and moments, but the adventures that have followed that night in Philly have been strange, to put it mildly. Bad Blood, the Raw and Netflix debut, NXT, that one SmackDown where he wanted Cody's soul, Elimination Chamber, and of course, WrestleMania 41. First, we skip back 2 years before that night in Las Vegas to Los Angeles. The main event here could have been The Rock versus Roman Reigns, and this was the money match. This was what fans had wanted to see for years, and now with Roman's back in 5 pieces carrying the company, the Bloodline story at its absolute peak, and this show being in the backyard of one of Hollywood's biggest stars, it seemed like all the stars were aligning perfectly. According to The Rock, this was locked in, but they couldn't agree on what they wanted this to be. Enter Cody Rhodes, who came back after tearing his pec, won the Royal Rumble, and depending on what side you cheer for, suffered a heartbreaking loss in the main event of WrestleMania. Now on WWE's hands was the very obvious story of Cody's redemption. Triple H in the Behind the Curtain documentary, and take this as you will, said that they wanted to give him a hot year and go back for the second chapter between these two. Rock ended up teasing a match on the Pat McAfee show in Colorado, and later in the day made an appearance on SmackDown. On the January 1st, 2024 episode of Raw, he comes back, and before leaving, he asked if he should sit at the head of the table. Fast forward a few weeks, Cody wins the Royal Rumble and points at Reigns after he was told by Triple H that Rock Roman was becoming an increasing possibility. Triple H went with Cody as a Rumble winner because he thought him losing would damage him considering how white hot he was. Seth Rollins was supposed to wrestle CM Punk, who got injured at that show, so they introduced him into the story and made the choice not so clear. Then things went completely sideways. Cody gave up his spot and said he wouldn't be coming for revenge at WrestleMania after the biggest loss of his entire career, a promise that he made days after returning, and now the opportunity right in front of him, he gave up his chance to The Rock. This became a mess of epic proportions. Social media goes into a frenzy, WWE fans hijack the YouTube channel upload, and "We Want Cody" trends worldwide over the weekend. WWE seeing the backlash pivots, and Rock and Roman become this two-man power trip who are upset that they didn't get to put on a match to honor their family's legacy, and that Cody was the reason that they couldn't do that. The crowd was so behind him that they chant "Rocky sucks," and this pivot perfectly blurs the lines. Roman chooses Rock and Cody chooses Roman at the WrestleMania 40 press conference. Rhodes makes fun of the Anoa'i family, and The Rock has a problem with Cody, so this press conference ends in absolute chaos, and the way they did this was awesome. A press event is supposed to be civilized, and this gets everyone talking by keeping all the players involved. The final boss was born, and he was unhinged. Rock had just joined the board of directors a few days before the Royal Rumble, and the whole thing was that he could throw his weight around, do whatever he wanted because he has power, because he has say, because he impacts decision making in the company. Every segment he's in is magic. The star power is enough, but he actually puts in the work to make things as entertaining as can be. We get Rock concerts, we get new catchphrases, we get Bloodline lure. He's cutting 21-minute social media promos.
So Cody, Seth, crybabies, and that shithead dog of yours, Pharaoh, standards and practices off is the direction you can fuck.
Standards and practices indeed, because every time Rock's in the ring, he swears up a storm. He's holding the audience in the palm of his hand, and you can tell that he's really enjoying himself. Every arena he entered, he brought it, and most importantly, there was meat on the bone. He wasn't just riding things out, he genuinely cared, to the point where the match felt like it was more Rock versus Cody, because these two were such a big focus. I really started to wonder what a rematch would look like had he not been involved, and we probably would have gotten a lot of solo lure, a lot of Roman's got the bloodline and Cody's got no one, a lot of it's gonna end the same way as it did last year and your dad sucks. Rock is also doing this one thing that fans notice a lot, because remember before they got away from it, reading the tea leaves actually mattered. Whenever he poses with the bloodline, his finger to the sky becomes an L. This gets fans wondering what's really going on. Is he a secret agent? What's going on? Did he actually come back for Roman after all? He calls everyone Cody crybabies, loves Cody's mom, also known as Mama Rhodes. Then we get that glorious Monday Night Raw where Rock finds Cody backstage and leaves him in a pool of blood, pain, and rain outside Allstate Arena. Right in front of his tour bus, he gets the beating of a lifetime. All in all, memorable moments, funny one-liners, storytelling. This short run was absolutely peak. It was everything you could want from a character. What came next was this perfect use of the two-night WrestleMania format where night 1 impacts night 2, a tag match between Rock and Roman and Cody and Seth. Rock's team wins, they can do whatever they want in a Bloodline rules match. If Cody's team wins, it'll be a clean, fair fight. Rock is the one who ends up pinning Cody, and the next night we get the most overbooked shenanigans imaginable. Rock comes down the ramp, and instead of his normal ice in his veins, Terramana in his soul, all cool self, he is a house on fire. He comes down to the ring, losing his mind. Bleep after bleep after bleep. Comes down, hits Cena with the rock bottom after they do the Rock Hogan thing, which is ruined by these two and their cardboard cutouts. And then he's like, get the fuck out of the Rock's ring. Seth turns up, Roman gets him. Then it's Cody and Rock, and he's about to ensure that the story ends with his family on top. Undertaker comes out to take him out, and when all is said and done, Cody overcomes the Isle of Samoa and is now WWE champion in one of the company's most emotional nights. Now is when the weirdness begins. Now is when the psychedelic adventures kick in. The night after WrestleMania, Rock comes out to confront Cody Rhodes. Eventually he gets to the point after congratulating him and he's like, your dad, he was my hero. Gives him his props. It's awkward. He's not really moving on with what he wants to say. He's like, is there any way The Rock can hold that title? Because he wants to hold the championship that Cody has. And Rhodes, he's got the 2013 Russell Westbrook look on his face like, what are you talking about, man? After this, he's like, I've held every single one of these, but not that one. And then Cody's like, you can hold this one for a moment as long as I can hold yours. They do this awkward title trade-off, and Cody does not give a rat's ass about the championship he's holding. He doesn't even pretend to kill, like, oh yeah, Muhammad Ali, Jules, cool. No, he stares clear of this thing, and he just wants to get his championship back. The crowd starts chanting, this is awkward, as Rock slings it over his shoulder. Thanks Cody, and he hands him back the title. This ends with the most important part of this whole thing. He tells everyone that The Rock has to go away for a while. He loves professional wrestling. Just remember, when The Rock comes back, whether you're champion or not champion, he's coming back for you. So Cody, your story with Roman Reigns is over, and you did it. Our story has just begun. There's one last thing that he wants to do before he rides off into the sunset for the time being. He wants to give Cody something. He hands him something and he says that you don't even need to open your hand to know what this is, going on to tell him, don't you ever break my heart again. Apparently Cody was handed a Rolex, and then Rock disappears. What the crowd is led to believe from this promo is the next step is Rock versus Cody or some sort of revenge arc from the boss. There's loose ends to tie up, but it can evolve in a lot of different ways. It's wrestling after all, you can always write in and out of stuff. This writes Rock off TV, but he's just hinted that no matter if Cody has the title or not, that he's coming back for him. What helps this entire case even more is what's going on with the Bloodline story as we move throughout the summer. Solo has gone power hungry, he gets a shot at the WWE Championship against Cody at SummerSlam, so he's still connected to them in one way or another. The group is falling apart at the seams, all while Roman Reigns is away from WWE TV. He comes back at SummerSlam to get even with Solo, and have Bad Blood WrestleMania opponents team up to take down a common threat. It's Jacob Fatu and Solo Sikoa versus Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns, and the good guys win. Just as the show is about to end, the final boss's music hits, and out he comes while staring a hole through both of them. He counts to 3, slits his throat, and then he leaves. Now everyone's depicting and wondering what the throat slash is about. Who's it towards? Clearly him showing up at the end of the show where both of these guys ended on top is as simple as just don't forget about me. Don't forget about the guy who runs all of this. Is Roman in trouble since he teamed up with the enemy against family? The biggest theory of them all was that Solo was acting on The Rock's orders because with that you could get both big remaining matches. And is he in control of Bloodline 2.0, which heading into Survivor Series made a lot of sense.
Listen up, Dwayne, you bald fraud!
The Rock is feeling a lot of things about what he just witnessed. The Rock is feeling a lot of things about what he just witnessed. The final boss, you keep that camera rolling. The final boss is feeling a lot of things. And you know why? Because there's been a bunch of bullshit that's been going on in the past 6 months.
He comes back on the January 6th episode of Raw, their premiere on Netflix, and buckle up because this is a nomination for the most counterproductive, rip it all apart, just bewildering television appearance of all time. Rock takes an amnesia pill and he's forgotten everything. All the bad blood with Cody, water under the bridge. Within the first hour of the show, two of the biggest possible matches they could run are squashed within the blink of an eye. The Rock comes out with the championship, the same Final Boss remix of his theme, the graphics on the board still say Final Boss, so for anyone saying that this was a corporate version, he's got the complete package. After this, he shows the Netflix execs and the suits, and then he gets to Cody, who's sitting behind commentary, and says he carried the company for a year, and to tell Mama Rhodes, The Rock says hello. Then he talks about Roman Reigns, saying that he's going to be watching his match against Solo. As Rock entered, they emphasized telling the audience that his status in the family was that he's a high chief. Next up is for the Ula Fala, Roman Reigns versus Solo Sikoa. Reigns wins it, and as Heyman is about to place it over his neck, from behind comes The Rock, puts it on him, and they stare at each other in a tense way. They hug, and they continuously cut back to this POV shot of The Rock giving Roman a glare. He's breathing very heavily and does not seem happy by any stretch of the imagination. They frame this tight as hell, and you're wondering what's going on. Maybe they tied up the threads with Cody because the story is Rock Roman in Vegas. They give you the old Russell Peters, what do you think? Wink wink, nudge nudge, No, nothing happens. Within the first hour of this show, it is the strangest single episode trajectory maybe ever. But it gets even weirder because this is just the tip of the iceberg. Following Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan, they play a behind the scenes of everything The Rock has been up to on this night. Daps up Reigns backstage, links up with Travis Scott, and finally Cody Rhodes, who he tells that he comes in peace, then he drives away. We then get social media clips of them sharing Wheatley, Terramana, whatever libation it was, and as a viewer, you're just sitting there like, huh? Didn't you hate him for ruining your match against Roman and talking shit about your family and being a crybaby? Didn't you hate him for continuously mentioning your mom and trying to take away your main event? Real-time wise and retrospectively, the most counterintuitive, downright confusing thing for WWE to do, especially as WrestleMania approaches in just a few short months. As fans, we had him penciled in, it just made too much sense, plus he's in all of the marketing for this show. Keep in mind that this is what the fan base had been waiting for. Whenever The Rock came back, it would signal the kickoff to the WrestleMania season this year. Okay, just a blip on the road. Okay, let's pretend that it never happened. The next night, he's announced for NXT, and again, he talks in circles. He tells Ava that he doesn't know what he's gonna say, and he wasn't lying. He comes out, and I have no earthly idea what was happening. He gets about 10 minutes dedicated to him, and I'm going to remind you that this is one of the greats. This is one of the elite off-the-cuff promos in wrestling history. He can make something out of nothing in seconds. He, for 6.5 minutes, talks in circles. He circles the roundabout in the opposite direction about 37 times. It is so bizarre because it seems like there is zero plan for what he's going to say. He starts off with a Chi-Hu, and then he's just got the jitters. He's on the Daytona Speedway of mumbling. We talk about the Big Show turning heel and face at the snap of a finger. This guy, mid-promo mind you, flips back and forth between I love you guys and test me and I will fucking kill your mom. He says a whole lot of nothing, and then he disappears. Until a month later, where he's back on SmackDown to announce a location for WrestleMania 42, which is announced as New Orleans, but it's actually in Las Vegas. The Rock tells us that he's here to call out a man that he respects and admires, and that is our current WWE champion, Cody Rhodes. When he comes out, they dap each other up. Rock gives Cody a kiss, on the side of the head, of course, you filthy animal. We then find out that he and Cody have become good friends just like their mothers. He glazes him and glazes him, goes on about Ari Emanuel before telling him that he wants Cody to be something more than a great champion. He wants him to be his champion, which links back to what Rock said to him the night after WrestleMania 40. For some reason, he starts talking about Rhodes' Instagram followers and tells him he'll make every dream he's ever had come true for him, his wife, and his little baby. Shows Moana, says that he needs him to become his champion, brings up that they're both girl dads and both mama's boys, then randomly blurts out that he'll come out and slap the syphilis off someone's face. The one thing that he's never had and he wants more than anything else is a brother. So you're telling me a new Samoan spawns on my TV screen every other week and they didn't give this man a brother? Anyways, last year his goal was to face Roman Reigns for the WWE title, and he said that last year he came back to do that after talking to the higher-ups who were his friends. He said that it was best for business, and Cody told them F that. Slapped him, and that's what makes him special. He doesn't want an answer. He wants him to go home, talk to his wife, hold his baby, and he'll meet him in Toronto. The one thing that he wants more than anything else is that. And he's not talking about the championship. He says that he wants his soul. Puts his hand on his face, holds it there for a bit, and then he leaves. What could this possibly mean? Rock wants Cody's soul. Surely that means corporate champion. A day before Elimination Chamber, he gifts Rhodes a truck because remember kids, bribery is always the best option. Next up is Toronto. Heading into Elimination Chamber, there's a lot of theories that emerge, and it was exciting despite the weirdness. The dumbed down story was The Rock wants Cody to become his champion. Will he take him up on the offer? And if he doesn't, what are the consequences going to be for someone he considers a good friend? For someone who controls his fate? The main event is a chamber match for a shot at the WWE Championship, won by the man currently starting off his final year of in-ring competition, John Cena. In his final WrestleMania, he'll face Cody Rhodes for the championship, but we still need an answer from him. Will he sell his soul to the final boss? He ends up telling him to go fuck himself. The offer is rejected, all the while Cena is still in the ring. When he's made his choice, they shake hands, and as Cena looks directly towards The Rock, he slashes his throat, and within the blink of an eye, his expression changes and the unthinkable happens. John Cena sells his soul to The Rock, and of all people, it's him. In his final year, he's now turned to the dark side, turned on everything he stands for. They leave Cody laying. The ending shot is Rock, Cena, and Travis Scott all looking towards the ring at Cody Rhodes, who's been beaten to a pulp. It's teased as this Hollywood stable, and Rock is the puppet master. He's the guy who's the overseer and the orchestrator of the whole thing. He's the one pulling the strings. Just remember, that's how this whole moment is framed. His character has caused this to happen, and by every bit of WWE TV signaling, you are led to believe that he will continue to be there. Now the question is, why the most resilient, loyal to the soil, never quit, never give in man decided that now was the time to do what he just did? Secondly, what would be the consequences for Cody, who in storyline has gotten close to The Rock and just hurt a close friend? But then The Rock disappeared, which leaves us with more questions than answers and without a key player on the road to WrestleMania. Why? Well, because we later found out that there wasn't any real creative aspect to this, but instead, this was a way to get Elimination Chamber to move more tickets. It was a short-sighted swerve to get those social media clicks and do something for shock value. Now what do we have? We have John Cena without the missing ingredient. We get vague little hints at why he did what he did, but never anything concrete or fleshed out. It almost seems like they parked the biggest elephant in the room miles away from what they're doing. Surely they didn't forget, and this has to be by design. Instead, Cena's main beef is with the fans. A lot of why he's mad would have worked a lot better in 2012, when the fans really were tired of him. But now they bow at his feet every arena he goes to, which leads to him running out of material pretty quick and just rehashing the same "You People" promo on repeat. Long term, there's no depth to him, there's no course correction, there's no one pure angle that they decide to take and fully lean into. They don't even make it as simple as "I'm older now, I have to cut corners to get to the top." It's not fleshed out as "I might have lost a step and that man will help me get what I want." Rock holds all the power and I don't. The closest we get to an explanation is that Cena knew Cody's obsession with the people would lead him to refusing The Rock's offer, and that's when he would jump in. In the main event of WrestleMania 41, Cody and Cena deliver a dud for the ages, and The Rock is nowhere to be seen. Instead, it's Travis Scott who makes a 47.5-minute entrance, does nothing of note, and that's how John Cena wins his 17th World Championship. What kind of booking malpractice is this? After WrestleMania, The Rock goes on Pat McAfee's show and gives his side of what happened, saying that he wasn't supposed to factor in. Elimination Chamber wasn't moving enough tickets, so Ari Emanuel called him to make an appearance. He's a board member. Of course, he'd have a huge interest in how attendance is. The reason why he didn't get involved is because it wasn't his vision for the story. His idea was to turn Cody, but that wasn't well received by Triple H and the rest of the creative team. He said he made the call to step back, saying that his job was done and to let Cena have his time. The selling of this whole thing was a feel out for how the audience would react to Cody turning to the dark side. This is what I can't wrap my head around, is what he said next. He says that he made the call that he didn't want to be involved, to step back, let the spotlight go to Cody and Cena, let them do what they do. I'd like to think The Rock, being in the wrestling business for so long with his family ties dating back years, would understand basic fan expectations and storytelling. When characters are introduced and moments are framed in such a way, those characters need to continue to be part of the story. And him agreeing to do this and then just going, yeah, I'm not going to be here, kind of requires him to be here. Now, I don't know what's going on backstage. I don't know who's trying to mess with who. I don't know what the beef is, but there's also some shade from The Rock in this interview. He says that they had 6 weeks to plan the finish. Now we get to what they showed us on the Unreal show, and again, take this as you will. Nick Khan said that after WrestleMania 40, there was a hunger to see The Rock again. As they headed towards Elimination Chamber, there was a tough Canadian economy, so they called in The Rock to help deliver, saying that originally they were okay with the match being face versus face at WrestleMania. But it was Brian Gewirtz's idea that Cody would be Rock's champion. There was also an idea pitched where he would turn him down and the final boss would make an impromptu title match. Kevin Owens would walk out as WWE champion. The Rock's team pitched that, but the issue the WWE team had was switching the title that close to WrestleMania.
Was it always in the cards to turn heel?
No, that stuff you see on Unreal is real. Like, we need to make Chamber big, so let's do something that'll shock everybody. Hey man, we got this idea. No problem.
With Rock already involved, they felt like something big had to happen, and Bruce Pritchard said, what if we turn John Cena? Triple H called The Rock, told him about the idea of wanting to do this. Rock said it was genius, and apparently Triple H called Travis Scott before the guy who actually became a bad guy. Cena said he liked it a lot and was just pinging Triple H ideas. Then they executed it, and here we stand without The Rock at WrestleMania 41. Why? Well, because he was never supposed to be there, and knowing what they did, they still decided to go with maybe the worst ending imaginable. This falls on Triple H as much as it does The Rock, and I'm tired of people giving him a pass. Please hold this man accountable for the exceptionally poor planning. He's got the last say, and to think that on the biggest night of the year, this is the ending they went with is absurd. Triple H and the creative team's job is to map out the moment, to process the whole thing, to see how it'll be received based on the story they're telling and the characters introduced. If you know that a man who plays a very important character that the fans have been led to believe is running the whole operation will not be there, then it's your job to write around it or pivot. Flesh things out, make it make sense, especially with the amount of time you have. If he's half in, half out, then you have option A as he'll be there. We'll do something epic, and in your back pocket, you have to have a contingency plan if you know that he's not going to be there. I just don't know how someone sat there and really went, this is the best that we can do. And I get it, they had plans for Travis Scott to wrestle, but they had so long to pivot. When you put something together, you have to think it through and wonder what's the end goal. When you're putting together a story, you're making a video, writing a book, whatever it is, beginning, middle, end, and you want to see how is this going to be received. Are you telling as full of a story as you can? Especially when the stakes are as high as a year-long retirement tour and making the ultimate good guy and guy you have christened the GOAT turn to the dark side and win a record-breaking 17th WWE title. Now John Cena is our WWE champion, and the thing is, the start to the title reign is always attached to the rest of the run. You just can't gloss over it, and you can't separate it. Without turning this into a what went wrong with John Cena's heel turn video, this image right here with Rock and Cena will forever be a what if. It'll always be the follow-up that never was, the unrealized potential, the power trip that we never got. And what makes it worse is them putting their hands up and not bringing everything full circle. They try to do a couple different things with Cena, but don't fully lean into any of them properly. And when you do that, you end up doing nothing properly. He's got a beef with the fans, a lot of holes there. He's gonna ruin wrestling. A lot of holes there. He's going to leave with the championship so the fans don't forget about him. Yep, lost it at SummerSlam, and I kid you not, showed up the same week in Montreal on SmackDown and didn't mention it once. He's also this cartoony parody of a heel, and that, as you can imagine, is also not fully fleshed out. This whole thing seems so begrudgingly day by day booked, but we all knew we could look forward to one story, and that was the old Cena coming back. What would be the payoff? And that's a big problem with John Cena's final year. There's not many big payoffs, if any. He's in this trance, he's a bad guy when most people don't really want to boo him. How do they pull him out of this? How does he gradually remember who he is and who he's been for all these years? My 2 cents on it is the story was very easy. Good guy, good heart, made a bad decision, and the fans, the guys who he's always stayed loyal to, the people who saw their hero abandon his principles, are the ones who slowly bring him back and get him to drop the act. This doesn't happen, and he just randomly remembers who he is again. He takes Rock's same amnesia pills, and on the SmackDown before SummerSlam, Cena's just back. He mentions that people who were supposed to be here left, and he bought into someone's idea, but now he's old John Cena again. The champ is here, he's a good guy, hustle, loyalty, respect. Everything you just saw for the past 5 months doesn't exist. That's how it's retconned. The rest is a story for another day. At WrestleMania, WWE jumped without a parachute, and we got a mess of an ending that will live forever in infamy. The Rock-Cena dynamic was never delved into again, and the Cody and Roman stories are yet to have a continuation, if that ever even happens. The Rock has not been seen in a WWE ring since Elimination Chamber 2025. Time after time again, he was wedged into storylines that signaled to the audience that there was some sort of long game being played. But what we've gotten instead is a collection of weird appearances without rhyme or reason, leading to very confusing messaging and unresolved storylines. What the future holds, no one knows, and what The Rock is cooking truly is a mystery that may never be solved. Thanks for watching.